live counter and a bitrate. Going to assume that means we're live, and that means welcome back to the Storytime Network. It is once again the Paradox Podcast, and today we are talking about Marvel Phase 4. I mean, movies and TVs, movies and TV of 2021.
I mean, you're not entirely wrong.
There's a lot of Marvel stuff.
Quite a bit of Marvel.
I just noticed it when I was setting things up, and I just had to go for the joke.
I mean, we can be brief on the Marvel stuff because we're going to do deep dives on that next year, probably.
I mean, we are going to be incredibly brief on Spider-Man. I'm going to hope, because I certainly haven't seen it, and it's only been out for like 2 days.
Well, then we can probably finish it in one sentence. It's very good.
Mm.
It is extremely good. Yes.
Guess I'll just have to wait.
That's the clip notes on it.
Yeah, guess I'll just
have to. Notes on it.
Guess I'll just have to wait for it to go on Disney Plus then.
Mhm.
Or rent out an entire movie theater for myself, but that's not going to happen. But to start us off, it is Arcane, League of Legends.
Arcane, so
Arcane is also
so
very
good.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
we're starting off with one of the best shows of the year.
Yes,
Yeah.
very much.
the
thing about Arcane is it has no reason to be any good at all.
Oh no, not at all. It's unfair. It is genuinely unfair.
It is far better than it has any right to be.
Yeah, I mean, when Riot announced they were doing their multimedia thing with a few other games that aren't League of Legends and Arcane and stuff, I was like, yeah, good luck with that, assholes. And shit, Arcane is really fucking good.
I do remember, this is a couple of years ago now, somebody tweeting out a video of the, I think, promo, and a lot of people going, holy shit, this looks really fucking good. I didn't realize until I checked it that it was actually Arcane.
Yeah, I mean,
Valve has always been really good at like cinematic storytelling. It's just like they've just never had a way to do that outside of League, and no one fucking plays League for the story or the lore unless they're me.
Like that's the thing. Nobody gives a shit about the story, and that's why it didn't have any reason to be good. Like they could have literally just made 10 episodes of characters from the game bashing each other's heads in, and that would have been fine. Like that would have been what people expected, and the people who care about League would have been okay with that probably. Instead, they made a really good TV show that just kind of happens to feature a few characters from League. Like that's
right, exactly.
And that's the best way to go about it. Like that's how you should make a TV show adaptation of a video game.
Yeah, I mean, part of the reason that works so well is that it's only adapting a small section of the massive world that I assume is part of the League lore. So it's not like overextending itself over all that shit.
Yeah, and also
it helps that
a TV show first.
Are good and have good dynamics.
Yeah, like it's a TV show first. They made a very good TV show that happens to be in that world. They didn't didn't sit down and say, okay, how do we make League of Legends into a TV show? They sat down and went, okay, let's make a good TV show.
Yeah, or like they didn't even do like, how do we make an advertisement for League?
No.
Or even like the Marvel thing of like, we need to keep to our lore. They just said, what's the most interesting story?
Yeah.
They're like, what's the most interesting story we can tell? And they fucking went for it.
And I mean, it should be noted, I think that's true for everyone who just said that Arcane is great. Like, I don't give a shit about League of Legends. I played League of Legends like 12 years ago for about like half a year, and then I fell off because it's a shitty game with a terrible community. But Arcane is really good.
Yeah. I mean, I played League maybe twice, and I had lived with people who played League for 6 years, including several years after I graduated college. Like, these are people who would keep me up at night because they were playing League of Legends so much.
Yeah.
I have never played League, and so this is fresh for me.
Yeah, and the best thing I can say to you is don't play League because you liked Arcane.
Yeah,
Arcane is good, League is bad.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to fall for that trap.
Yeah.
I do know for sure though that like the biggest takeaways I get from this show is that holy shit, they are good at character writing. The studio is good at character writing, and they have such a good animation team.
I mean, we knew that
looks spectacular.
I mean, to be fair, we knew that from when they did KDA.
That's
right.
true.
I vaguely remember that thinking.
Yeah. Like that was so big.
Like everything about the show is really, really good. Like it looks great. The writing is amazing. The music is fantastic.
Yeah, like you're.
Not to mention the voice acting.
Like everything is great. It's so unexpected. And that's the other thing. Like if you expect something to be great and it's great, then okay, that's good. But no one expected Arcane to be any good.
Like, I was so out of like discussions about this show entirely that I didn't realize this show was a League property until like people were talking about it. I was like, wait,
what? What? Yeah, exactly. Like
I didn't even realize it was League related until I was like 2/3 of the way into the show.
Like I was like, these characters sound from. Oh no!
Oh shit! What? I mean that was kind of a thing. Like because it's been so long since I played League, I honestly sat there with every character. Like, is this a character from League or is this like I don't know. But at some point I stopped caring. Luckily.
It was like when Heidegger showed up.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
Heidegger, yeah.
I was like, no, it's not. This is not. No, oh no.
Yeah, no, it's again, it's just a show that has no business being that good. And also, I mean, I've said it before, but with how toxic the League fandom is about basically everything, boy, did I not expect this amount of gay.
100%.
Oh yeah, no. The show has so much gayness.
Yeah, like boy.
I half expected Kid and Vi to kiss at some point, honestly.
I'm shocked they
don't.
I
assume that will happen in season 2.
That is entirely possible.
Yeah, I would be shocked if it didn't happen in season 2 because just like here we are.
Yeah, I mean, genuinely.
It's fairly suspect.
I thought it was pretty.
Is it still? I was gonna say, is it still subtext just because they didn't kiss? Like, they touch their faces constantly. Jesus.
It's text at this point.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, you're right. It's text.
Like. Yeah.
I mean, what was it? There's like this like. It's almost like they don't need it. Yeah, and also like I'm really glad they didn't. Like we said before, like they didn't feel compelled to stay with established lore and just went their own direction with it. Like we know these characters, we know all of these characters are going to be like the future defender of tomorrow with Jace, and like the enforcer with V, and like the crazy girl with Jix. But like, it doesn't matter who these people are going to be. What matters is right now these are who they are.
Yeah, they
I mean, from what I've heard, like, Jinx is supposed to be, like, this, goofy Harley Quinn, haha, explosions character in the game, and it's like, how the fuck did we go from that to the character in the show? Jesus Christ.
Also, in the game, like, her lore is, she and V don't have the same kind of relationship. It's mostly just, like, they're just... What was it? It's like Flash and the Trickster. That's the relationship they have in the games. Like, it's like, oh god, fucking hell, shut up.
Yeah, no.
But here, it's like, not that.
Not a really good thing, yeah.
Here,
I mean, even the non-league characters, like, I'm gonna say, it wouldn't have been uncommon for a show like this to super flesh out the characters people know, but not give a shit about all the side characters like Silco and the dad and the council people and stuff. But everyone.
From what I've heard, there is some funky stuff going on with the dad character, but I'm not going to get into that because I don't know any legal lore.
Which,
Yeah, I mean, maybe he comes back. As I said, I barely remember who was and wasn't, but just they didn't shit on the side characters or anything. They just, again, as I said, they just sat down and made a good show, and that's all you can ask for, really, and it worked out for them. It worked really well.
And that side character development is what makes the final episode hit so hard.
Yeah, holy shit.
What a way to end the season.
I mean, that's I so can't wait for season 2. Like what's next?
Who else are they going to talk about? Because now that they've shown they can do so well with this core cast, what are they going to do next? Next, really?
Yeah, I mean,
they're the sky's the limit, really.
That's the thing. Like, they have this this huge world nobody gives a shit about, so maybe make people give a shit about it.
I kind of hope Arcane at least stays fairly contained, but if they do other shows set in the world, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, maybe that. I don't know.
It's... maybe who knows? Maybe season to season, it'll be vignette style.
Could be.
Also an option.
They have so many options, and to an extent, if they never I'll be sad if we never get to see to a large extent Jinx, V, and what's her face, Catherine? No,
Caitlyn.
Yeah. I'll be sad if we never get a chance to see them again, and have their arcs. But the Jinx V relationship is pretty well established. I think they've hit a good moment with it, and I don't if they went further, I'm not sure I'd be happy with that.
I mean, I think it's pretty character focused.
The issue is the first season ends on the cliffhanger. So...
Yeah, I mean, it's very character focused, and with how the first season ended, I would be surprised if they went vignette style in season 2. But down the line, Arcane obviously worked very well for them. People were talking about this shit when it came out.
Yeah.
So I would not be surprised if they started branching out. But at the same time, it might not be the smartest thing, because obviously you need a good team, and this team works for this show, so maybe they'll just keep it to that. I don't know, but either way, I'm very much looking forward to what comes next, and I did not expect to ever say that about a Riot Games product.
Yeah, right? Specifically a Riot game.
Yeah. Unexpected. That's basically what makes Arcane probably my favorite show I saw this year, just the unexpected quality.
Yeah.
Top 5 easy for me. Easy top 5.
Yeah, and the other good things I saw were all things I kind of expected to be good. So they just hit differently.
Yeah. I just... The only reason I would like to see them maybe go a different... or go through different characters is just... There are so many characters within the universe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they had a single character I used to play in this season of the show.
Right, and it'd be so interesting to see where they go with it, and how they handle characters, and God, could you imagine them doing a series about the Fox Girl? How many people would just be horny for the Fox Girl?
Well, this season already very horny, so everyone, yes.
But that's the kind of thing they're playing with here, right? It's
yeah.
They're playing with fire.
Oh, 100%.
In a good way.
But if we're being honest, them playing with fire is, hey,
that's what makes it good.
Yeah. So good.
I mean, that's kind of the thing. They definitely took risks, because imagine
they took risks, but the risk paid off.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They paid off. Imagine if the League fan base had just said this is shit, then nobody would watch it, because if even the fans don't care about it.
But to be fair, I think the thing.
I honestly don't even know if the fans care about it. I have no clue.
The thing, that's the thing. It didn't matter if the fans cared or not, because they just didn't have the voice. And also, no one listened to them. No one listens to the fans.
Very good. Nobody should ever listen to League of Legends fans. But...
Exactly. That's the reputation they have.
Yeah.
No one was gonna follow them anyway into this.
Oh, of course. But just I just assume if a thing comes out that is related to any property, and the fans of that property say this is shit, then nobody else is gonna care.
Right.
Like, why would I watch it if even League of Legends fans don't like it?
Right. No, that's fair.
But the risks absolutely paid off because, as we said, it's really, really good.
Yeah. I don't think there's been a person who watched the show and who cared for it was like, yeah, this is bad. It was like, no, motherfucker, this is it. This hit.
It did. I mean, looking at my Twitter, it still does. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe we'll do an Arcane show in the future where we just go in depth on the show.
Very possibly. Certainly seems popular enough, and certainly, I'm beginning to get interested enough to give it a try.
Yeah. I mean, I can definitely talk about it more, but this is not the Arcane episode, so.
Yeah.
No, instead you get to talk more about the Beatles. Get Back.
Yay.
I need to watch this, and this is a documentary I really wanted to get to, but just never did.
It's kind of, I want to say, it's kind of hard to call it a documentary because many features you'd expect of a documentary it doesn't really have.
Right.
Because it doesn't have the voice from off camera who tells you, and on this day George Harrison recorded the guitar tracks for. That's not what this is. Like they filmed this back in '69 because they expected to make a movie and release it. So it's very much like they never show anyone using hard drugs or even talk about it because that's not the product they were making.
How do they treat the Pete Best situation?
They doesn't come up at all because this is 1969. This is a few years before the Beatles broke up. This is not.
They don't talk about the history in that way, right? Like that's
not really. Like in the first episode, there's maybe 2 minutes of a short reel where it's well, and then the Beatles formed as a skiffle band, and they were pretty popular, and then they went to Hamburg, and then they got a recording deal, and then everything fucking exploded, and they were the biggest band in the world. And in 1969, they rented the Twickenham movie studios to blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. So, the history, that's what I mean when I say it's not a documentary. The history of the band essentially doesn't come up at all.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It's more just really, it's honestly fascinating to watch these people do their thing, because at this point in time they are still very much the Beatles. They are still this unit of 4 people, this band, and at the same time, but you can see it fraying at the edges because this would be one of the last 2 albums they ever recorded.
Right, they broke up very soon after this. I
mean, Let It Be was released after they were broken up, but it was recorded before Abbey Road. They had the 2 albums recorded, and Let It Be just released later. But yeah, that's the thing. You can see it fraying at the edges. At some points, Paul McCartney and John Lennon independently say they don't really get along that well anymore. But at the same time, this is so funny. At one point, or maybe a bit of context. By this point, the Beatles did not play live shows anymore. I think everyone knows they stopped being a live band at some point, just because when they played live, they couldn't hear the music because the people were too loud.
Yeah.
Right.
And the idea for the album, the initial idea was they would film themselves recording the album, release that film product, whatever it was going to be, as a TV special, and finish that TV special by playing a live show, a single live show.
Mm-hmm.
And George Harrison did not want to do that. And at one point during the process, in the documentary, he leaves the band. He literally gets up and says, "I'll leave the band now," and then he's gone for a day.
Mm-hmm.
And people are packing up his stuff, and just looks like he's really gone. And at that point, the other Beatles are sitting around arguing, or not even arguing, just talking about what are they gonna do? Gonna get another guitar player? They're thinking maybe we can get Clapton, or can they get George back, or can they go on without George? And at one point, Paul McCartney says, this is so fascinating. At one point, Paul McCartney says, "This is all stupid. 50 years from now, people are gonna say the Beatles broke up because Yoko Ono sat on an amp or some bullshit." And that's the thing, like Yoko is there the whole time, and everyone always said, well, Yoko Ono is the reason the Beatles broke up. But she does nothing. She just sits there. And Paul McCartney literally says people are going to say it's her fault, but it's not. Like, that's amazing to me, that he just saw that.
To be fair, a lot of the vitriol and the hate that Yoko Ono got was partially because of Oriental, East Asian racism, sexism, and also the fact that John Lennon was just kind of a dick.
Yeah, I mean, the thing, I don't even know if he was that much of a dick. I think John Lennon just had a very specific kind of humor. And honestly, when the Beatles actually went around to breaking up, like, they really hated, they only communicated through lawyers. That shit got real quick.
Yeah, no, I heard about that.
But by the time Get Back takes place, again, as I said, they are still very much this unit, and it's really just amazing to see them do their thing. Like, at one point, Paul McCartney just sits there strumming on his bass, and he obviously starts out with some sort of idea, but that idea gets completely lost within 30 seconds. And 30 seconds later, after a minute or maybe 2 minutes, he's playing Get Back, what will become the song Get Back, and it's completely different from his initial idea, and it's fascinating to watch a man just pull a song out of nothing.
Yeah,
The process is really just fascinating, especially when it's when you see someone who's really skilled at creating things.
Especially with this group of 4 who have essentially existed as one group for the last about 10 years.
Not even that, this group that is already legendary. That's
the other thing. They are literally the biggest band in the world at this point, and none of them has hit 30. I think the oldest one is Paul McCartney's 28, 29. That's crazy.
I think at this point, they're already going to be a legend within the history books for their music.
At one point, someone, that's also funny, they speak in a surprisingly modern way. At one point, they are stuck on a song, and someone asks John Lennon, basically, what you gonna do with it? What's gonna happen? And John Lennon says, more or less, dude. And then he says, I'm literally a Beatle. I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah, and I think that's part
crazy
of why...
to me.
Yeah, I know. It's just yo, what the fuck? He just says it?
Yeah, he just says it like that.
Oh my god.
It's amazing.
Fucking asshole.
Yeah, I'm not I'm not the biggest Beatles fan or anything, but I am a musician, so
right. You have a very interesting perspective of this.
I absolutely had points of identification where I saw that and was yeah, I know what that moment feels like.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's the motherfucking Beatles.
Yeah, it's different. It hits different.
Yeah. So
also,
I can really only say if you have 9 hours to kill, it's definitely worth the watch. But it's obviously long. I mean, it's Peter Jackson. We know he does long things.
Yeah.
Also, just point out, real glad Eric Clapton didn't get brought into the band because he's a fucking dick.
Oh, he is terrible. Yeah. But that's also another funny thing. At one point, I mean, say about Clapton what you will, but he is very good at playing the guitar. And at one point, Paul McCartney and George Harrison talk about that. And George Harrison says, well, Clapton can just basically improvise stuff. I can't do that. I'm not that good. And Paul McCartney, essentially inventor of modern pop music, is so out of touch that he says, yeah, but isn't that jazz? And Eric Clapton has nothing to do with jazz.
Love that. I love it
amazing.
So much.
Honestly, Beatles Get Back, definitely recommendation. It's super interesting to watch.
Oh, that's so good. Oh,
fantastic.
You can't write this shit either.
No, you really can't. It's just. And then obviously there's the rooftop concert, which is legendary, was parodied everywhere.
Yeah.
My first exposure was The Simpsons.
Yeah,
everyone knows that episode.
I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking about that episode throughout, basically.
But the greatest thing about the entire rooftop concert is one, they're interviewing people in the street what they're thinking, and one old lady is like, "I was sleeping and they woke me up. I hate it," which is great. And also, like, there's police who want to stop that because it's obviously fucking everything up. And these poor policemen who just can't get shit done because they're like, well, can they come down from the roof? And everyone's like, yeah, they'll be down in a moment. It's just everyone's just fucking with that.
3 hours later.
And at the same time, like, they don't want to arrest the Beatles. It's the motherfucking Beatles.
Yeah. Who's gonna be the asshole that does that?
Exactly. Like, it's great. It's really great.
Oh, that's so funny.
They might not be quite as big as Jesus, but fuck's sake, Jesus ain't here, so they're the closest thing to him.
It's like telling Freddie Mercury, "Hey, you shut the fuck up. You suck." It's like, you don't do that. You don't do that.
Yeah.
Especially not in front of a crowd of his fans.
Right. It's like,
Also,
there are easier ways to die.
Yeah.
definitely less. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm conscious that you again have a hard out, so moving on, not to Black Widow, but to the Great British Bake Off.
Oh, the Great British Bake Off. It is still an incredibly wholesome show in its, like, 400th season, or who fucking cares. It's so good. This year was, like, the contestants were all a very eclectic group, as per usual, but, like, you had a baker who was vegan, like, did gluten-free recipes and all that, and so, like, you had, like, they had to make special arrangements for her, and, like, she had to, like, really think outside the box about how she wanted to approach all of the challenges she was in, while still maintaining true to her ideal of, like, I'm just gonna be, you know, a baker who doesn't use gluten products or animal products, like eggs and milk, in a baking show.
Yeah. So
that's difficult.
And like, she made it pretty far in, like 6 weeks.
Fair enough. Good for her.
How many?
10.
Oh dang! So she made it past the halfway point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, it was it was just a bad, like, her leaving was not because of her using vegan ingredients or anything. It was because it was just a bad week.
Yeah.
The same as anyone else.
Yeah.
And also, like, just as, like, a winner, like, the winners of the finalists were two people of South Asian descent, and a Italian man. So, like, not a single, like, white British person was on the show.
Yeah.
Was on the finals. And, like, even at the semifinals, it was a German man, an Italian man, and then the two South Asians.
Just remind me who the presenters are now. Is it still
Matt Lucas and Noel?
Okay, Matt Lucas.
Yeah, Matt Lucas is still the worst part of the show.
Right.
Not my favorite. Easily, like, he's just very cringe. His humor just doesn't work. I don't think he has very good chemistry with Prue or Paul.
Yeah.
Or even Noel. Noel has a really good rapport with Paul and Prue. Just excellent.
Noel Fielding gets along with anyone because he's genuinely insane.
Yes. And then Paul's just there to be funny at this point. And, like, it's fun to see Paul kind of get involved with the antics of the hosts.
Yeah.
I just don't like Matt Lucas. He just drags down the show, and I just get annoyed whenever he shows up.
He does have a very, like, particular sense of humor, and I'm willing to bet he can't really get into his sense of humor on the Great British Bake Off, because it's not the same type of it's not gonna, like, focus on the same demographic that he usually does.
Right. And also, the other thing you have to remember is, like, the only reason he's still the host along with Noel is because the previous hostess, whose name I can't remember,
Sandy Toksvig?
Yeah. She didn't come back because it's still COVID and she's immunocompromised.
Oh, jeez.
Love Sandy Toksvig, so that is a definite shame.
So, like, she was supposed to come back for this season, but then COVID kind of ramped up, right as they were starting filming again, and like she was like, "No, I can't,"
Yeah.
for obvious reasons, you know. Like no one's gonna like that's not any fault of hers at all.
Yeah.
So, but you know,
No, that's a definite shame because Sandy Toksvig is a genuine treasure.
and like the seasons where she and Noel kind of have their back and forth, that is genuinely fun to watch, and like they have a good chemistry together.
Yeah.
But excellent show. While I don't disagree with who won, I disagree with how they won it because spoilers. Giuseppe, the Italian man, won the competition. He was the winner of the Great British Bake Off. The only reason he won in my mind was because one of the South Asian contestants, Christelle, she underbaked something very drastically, where it's actually just raw. It was just raw. And he wouldn't have won if she hadn't done that. She absolutely would have won.
Oof.
Absolutely.
So one fuck up cost her the whole thing.
Yeah, it was very clear. Because, like, Giuseppe also had a bad week that week. It was, like, the worst week to have a bad week.
I mean, it worked out for him, just not for her.
Yeah.
Right. But that's kind of what we're dealing with here. Higgs, the other finalist, excellent baker. Fun fact: he'd only just started baking like a week essentially before Bake Off started.
Oh, he was a final? Holy shit!
Yeah, he's like the newest baker. He was like the newest baker in the tent, essentially.
Wow.
That's what we call a prodigy.
Yeah, it was very fun to watch him because he was also he had very good like attention to detail.
That helps a lot in competitions like this.
Yeah, so
Right,
like not shocked that he won. Not shocked that like there are seasons of Bake Off where I'm like, I don't think you deserve to get there, as if I can get anywhere near their level. But like, you know, there are seasons where like there are other contestants who should have made it above you, and you just eked them out in the wrong week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But none of the four, like even the semifinals, none of the four of them were like it was a tight race the whole way. So
That's good.
if you're gonna watch a season of Bake Off, this might be the one to do it.
All right.
Well,
moving on then to the Mitchells versus the Machines.
how
Oh
fun you guys
god,
about this? Man?
this is so good. Imagine if someone said, watched Into the Spider-Verse and went, I can do that, and then they did.
Dang.
Like excellently animated, very fun characters. Like the main character is she's autistic. Let's be real. She's neurodivergent. ADHD for sure.
Yeah.
Like
Sounds like me.
she's a lesbian, or at the very least, non-cis, non-heterosexual. And like her brother or her little brother, who's also a major character, is autistic, like severely autistic, hyper fixated on dinosaurs.
Mood.
Hey, dinosaurs are awesome.
They are, but like and like they never come off as like they're never the insufferable versions of those trope characters.
Yeah.
They're always very like it's almost respectful. Then you have like the mom and dad who are just like they're just trying their fucking best to deal with their kids.
Yeah.
And like the dad's made a joke of in the way like that all dads are kind of in these kinds of movies and shows.
Yeah.
But like, you're never. At the end of the day, it's like, all right, you're all right. Like you get where he's coming from, and like also, he has this moment of, oh, I need to be a better father, and he does it. Like
That is always a good thing.
Like,
Yeah.
it's never out of malice that he's mean or he and his daughter don't get along. It's just it's just a fundamental disconnect between them.
They're on a fundamentally different wavelength.
Right. And it's all like the movie is just like about repairing that line of communication between them and like learning to see the other for who they are, not what you want them to be or etc., etc.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, I'm really loving the recent trend in media of having more focus on father-daughter relationships.
Right. I mean that's probably because you have more women in writers' rooms going, I'm not like daddy issues, whatever, but like this is not what this is. This is just a character who needs a father and like wants to have a relationship with them, etc., etc. And like can talk to that relationship because they've experienced it in a real way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the importance of having like various people of different backgrounds in the writers' rooms, because then you can get these stories told honestly. All told, like, and the art style is just fantastic. Like,
No, it does
matter
look
what
quite cool.
You said it was evocative of Spider-Verse?
oh yeah, like it's Sony. It's still Sony Studios.
Well, it's
Same-
the poster even says it looks like it's made by the same people who did Spider-Verse.
Right, and like the effects are all like very interesting and like weird and quirky in a way that informs character,
Yeah.
but isn't overbearing in the way that it would be in another movie. Like, you remember when the video game Sunset Overdrive?
Yeah.
Like how oh, we're hip and so cool because everyone's on fleek, yo. Like they had that style of just like talking, and like that kind of like.
When did this
we're
come
trying
out?
to appeal.
And did they actually use the words fleek?
Maybe I don't remember, but like the point is like Mitchell's versus the Machines was never. It does that, but it never feels insufferable the way Sunset Overdrive or any of these other media properties do when they try to lean on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Yeah. Like highest rating. One of the best movies I've seen all year.
Cool.
That's good.
Again, it's on Netflix. I might give it a try at some point if I find the time and the attention
I
span.
just haven't had the time to watch it, but all things considered, I've heard it's really good.
Also, the pug.
The pug does, yeah.
He's adorable and hilarious, and I will fight wars for that pug.
Speaking of, I assume wars, the Wheel of Time. I'm guessing there's wars. It's a fantasy series.
Yeah. Wheel of Time.
The show
I've
is
talked
a
a
very
lot.
good adaptation.
Jack, you take the lead. I've talked a lot.
Okay, again, do you mind being spoiled on episode 6?
No, go for it. I'm gonna get there in like the next episode or two anyway.
Okay, so the show made a major change to the books that I think was definitely for the better, in that they made Moiraine's relationship with Swan romantic, explicitly and overtly. And there is a scene in episode 6 where it's basically the whole exiling thing where they make her swear on the oath rod and whatnot, and they make it sound like it's textually Moraine being exiled, and it's subtextually, oh, this is a fucking marriage vow at this point. They went all in on that relationship, and I am happy with that.
I mean, they've just done a lot of really good things for these characters.
Yeah.
And I'm very like Nynaeve is fundamentally my least favorite character by the end of the series. By book whatever, she is the most insufferable of the characters, along with Matt and Elaine and Egwene.
Honestly, I think at least Matt and Nynaeve improved substantially over the course of the series. I
Yeah,
liked
but like
all of them.
by in like book 7, they're just ugh.
Well, book 7 is bad in a
um
lot of ways, but
yeah,
I doubt they'll handle it the same way in the show
but
when they get there.
like from minute 1, like when Nynaeve first has her discussion with Moraine, you're like, oh, oh,
Oh dear.
I understand like everything that like the general distrust against Aes Sedai, and not necessarily the outright hostility and anger people feel towards them, instantly told, instantly, like explained in how Matt and Nynaeve talk about them.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, they're just elitists coming to podunk towns and rejecting anyone who doesn't look or talk like them.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's such a good informing of who Nynaeve is as a character, and also because the actress who's playing her is a person of color, adds like another read on it, because she's talking to the very white Rosamund Pike.
Speaking of whom, Rosamund Pike also knocks it out of the park.
Oh, fantastic! But like
she was damn near perfect for the role.
yeah, like a lesser actress would have bungled that, but like never once did I not believe that Rosamund Pike was Moraine Sedai.
Yeah, no, she handles the role perfectly. So does Daniel Henney as Lan.
Oh yeah, he is. Oh. I'm like not. I'm not like I am heterosexual, but like Lan is making me question a lot.
He has a shirtless scene in episode 7, by the way.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Gen watches episode 7 5 minutes later. So I'm bisexual.
Yeah. What else was there? Oh yeah, the actors they got to play the main group all do their stuff really well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like my biggest something I'm really sad about is the fact that Barney Harris had to leave the show, so he's not going to be playing Matt past episode 6 of the first season.
Really?
Which really sucks. Because he was so great.
Yeah, I like really liked him. Was there just like a creative differences or what?
To the best of my knowledge, it was very personal reasons that he didn't disclose to the public.
Oh, interesting. I hope he's okay.
I hope so too, but like, yeah, he had to abruptly leave the show, and so Matt got written out for the rest of the season after episode 6.
I can kind of see that because they're doing the whole he gets sick very early.
Yeah, the whole dagger thing, they kind of speed ran that. So they could, they have ways of rewriting it back into the story, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I'm sad that Matt's gone because like Matt as a character is very fun, and I'm interested to see where he goes because he's essentially the Odin of the series by the end. Spoilers, I guess.
Matt has a very fun and interesting journey, but he is kind of insufferable in the first couple books.
Yeah, he does get married to the worst character in the series, but like.
Speaking of changes, I hope they overhaul that character drastically.
Yeah, but like the fact that they've like the way they handled. I just finished episode 4.
I thought you were on 5.
I'm on 5, but I just finished 4.
Okay.
With the scene that ends with the gentling of Logain.
Oh yeah, Logain is really good in the show.
Oh, Logain's excellent, very good. But the way Nynaeve interacts with the world in that excellent.
Mm-hmm.
And like the way they
immediately spots the androgen as a snake.
Oh yeah, 100%. And but all
So
like
great.
there's the other bit where like it ends with her saving everyone in like the room after Logan goes insane.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like it's like he, you get the sense of like, oh, that's right, Nynaeve is actually a bonkers person.
Nynaeve is canonically the most powerful
Channeler.
modern, besides the Dragon Reborn, I believe.
Yeah, outside of like Egwene maybe comes close.
I think I don't know. I don't know about the canon power levels. I think she's like a couple levels below Nynaeve, along with a couple other characters who haven't been introduced in the show yet.
Yeah, but the point
They're
is
all
like
a lot stronger than most of the modern Chandlers.
right, but like Nynaeve is just such a good character. I'm always really excited whenever she shows up. The other thing that I do want to mention is like the way the actor who's playing Steppen handles his grief or shows it.
Oh yeah,
Like it
yeah.
just it's so good at showing the relationship between a warder and
Sedai.
his
Yeah.
Sedai, yeah. We're like, oh, he's just a very broken man now without his Sedai, without his Aes Sedai, and like you do wonder if he's gonna make it. Like you wonder if he's gonna not kill himself in the middle of the night because he looks like he is that close at
Yeah,
any
episode
moment.
5 does a lot more focusing on Steppen Land and the other warders too.
Yeah, and like the way they just very easily show the relationship between Moraine and all the other Aes Sedai women, Lan and all the other warders.
Mm-hmm.
Like the show just very does a lot of good with very little time.
Yeah.
And it tries its hardest to establish relationships without being too overt about it.
Yeah, like I only have one minor issue with the character relationships, and that's like the a weird love triangle type thing that they set up. But
Which one?
Perrin, Egwene, and Rand.
Oh, that's weird.
I know nothing's going to come of it because book knowledge, so I kind of find it hilarious that they're actually doing it because it's not going to go anywhere.
It's weird that I mean,
I get why they would do it for like the early book content, but
yeah,
like it's funny because it's not going to go anywhere.
right. Meanwhile, Lord and Miller are just like, we're here too.
Yes. You know what's?
Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about me.
Like the big thing that they skipped, that they had to skip, which I understand, is Camelin.
Yeah.
So all the characters that get introduced there, except for Loyal, got pushed back to having later introductions.
Mm.
I know they've already casted Elaine, but I don't know about the rest of them.
Yeah, like Min is gonna be the character I'm most interested in seeing.
She does pop up in episode 7, and she's great.
Okay. She's the one I'm like she's the most interesting of the female characters that I remember.
I will say I do think Min and I will say let's see, Min, Moiraine, and Avienda are probably my favorites of the female cast.
But like, if you had to make me pick between the cast right now, I think Egwene is still the weakest.
Character,
but that's because
yeah.
But that's because like she's too much Katara at the moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she doesn't really start coming into her own until later books.
And so like it's just right now she's just Rand's love interest / feminine presence for Perrin.
Yeah.
And this other weird kid in the Tuatha De Danann.
Yeah. Oh, I will say, speaking of Perrin, I also didn't like what they did with him in the pilot. The whole thing with, oh, Perrin has a wife. Oh, Perrin's wife is dead. Oh, darn.
Yeah, it would have been more interesting for, like, maybe him and Nynaeve or something. Like, that might have been a thing, or...
I mean, there's
if you're
no
gonna
really give him give him an actual love interest until his actual love interest gets introduced.
Right. But still. Like, it's... I think they've done a really good job. Tom is excellent.
Yeah. The actor they got for Rand is pretty good too.
Yeah, he's very bland, but he
starts off bland in the books too.
Yeah, like they're just going normal road with him, and like,
I will
that's fair.
say they gave him a lot to work with in episode 7.
Yeah,
which I'm not going to go into what happens in episode 7, but
I think
they gave a lot to work with. I also like that they are kind of working on concealing the identity of the Dragon Reborn.
Right. Like, if you just go by the end of episode 4, you're like, wait, Nynaeve is the dragon?
But it doesn't say that explicitly either.
Right. But, like, you have Logain go, I will be as, like, a flame before the sun, after Nynaeve has her big moment. And it's like, yeah, motherfucker, you're playing with the big leagues now.
Okay, I mean, it seems...
A couple more things I'll talk about real quick before we move on. First of all, the cold opens for each of the episodes are really good.
Yeah.
Like, one thing I think, based off the casting, is that the prologue for Eye of the World is going to be the cold open for episode 8, because they have an actor to play Lews Therin.
Interesting.
So it does make me wonder who they've cast to play a Shamael.
Yeah, they're doing very good. I just like. I didn't like Game of Thrones. I didn't like the books. The series was okay to me. It was just too much like torture porn for me to really get into. But like, this series is like, what if Game of Thrones, but more high fantasy and less everyone sucks. And you know everyone sucks and everyone's always terrible and suffering. No one's allowed to have a happy time.
Yeah. Oh, episode 7's cold open. It'll be very fun for you to watch because it shows Tigraine.
No.
Yes. Tigraine on Dragon Mount.
Oh God.
Okay, again.
So excited.
Again, before you go, do you want to say one last thing about any one of the things we haven't covered yet?
Let me just take a look at the list. WandaVision, excellent show. I just wish they didn't go into Marvel Punch-Up by the end. There was just so much there.
Oh, I will get into the ending.
At least the villain was good.
I like Catherine Hahn, excellent actress. Literally could cast her in anything. I'm very excited to see her in Knives Out 2. But like the format of WandaVision is just so good that it makes me mad that they didn't end better.
They ended fairly well. It's just the ending could have been better than it was.
They had a chance.
I don't want to keep you because you have an out, but I do want to say they wasted a perfectly good opportunity to make an animated episode.
I know. Like, if you really like, I don't know. Like, there was just so much they could have done, and they just went for the the most boring option in my head.
Yeah.
That's my main complaint. Like, up until was it episode 9 or 10? Like, when you get to the closest, it's like right after the Modern Family episode. That's when you lose me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that tracks.
And it's just like, there could have been something really cool there, and they just didn't go for it. I feel like part of that is like you have to adhere to the Marvel formula.
Yeah.
To do that, like to be a Marvel program, but like it's just like, damn, what could this show have been if they didn't have to? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of where I ended with it. Like, what if the show wasn't a Marvel? Like, what would it have looked like? And that's kind of my thought about it.
I will say it was hilarious that everyone kept guessing Mephisto was behind everything after every episode.
Yeah, and like,
I mean, that's a given with Marvel.
yeah. But also, like, what they did instead though was not better.
Mm.
I'm salty. Not by much.
Look,
I don't know. I have opinions.
Look, Agatha All Along is a banger of a song, and you know it.
Yeah, no, it is. I was humming that for weeks. My partner was so pissed. He was like, she was like, Ged, if you don't stop singing that, I will kill you. And she's a music, like, she did, like, she's classic, like, she's opera trained. Like, she could sing opera if she wanted to. So, my tone-deaf ass really pissed her off. So, on that note, goodbye, everybody.
See you again.
You're around.
See ya.
So considering we're on it, we can talk more at length about WandaVision.
It's a very good show. Like,
I mean, it's
even if we have
good
issues
show.
with how it ended, it's still good.
I think this will be a bit of a recurring theme. It definitely stumbled towards the ending, and not just because it squandered anything. Like, the ending of this show had very much had the problem of that many Marvel things have, and that's usually where Marvel is the weakest.
Third act, big ass battle.
Not even that. It's just we need this to go to a certain place. In this case, for whatever reason, we don't know it yet. We need Wanda to seclude herself in her little cabin.
Yeah.
And to get there, just do whatever it takes to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a show where, like, how many episodes is it? 13? 12? I don't know. 9. Oh yeah, Disney does the short scenes, whatever. But then you have like 7 episodes of the show being whatever the actual pitch for the show was, which is very good. Again, squandered opportunity to make a great animated episode. Just get all the Simpsons people in house and have fun. But you have 7 episodes maybe of the show being what the actual pitch of the show was, and then basically them just abandoning the pitch and going for what that ending they need to get to is. And that happens with, like, that's always when Marvel is at its weakest, when the original pitch for something and the actual direction it needs to go don't work well together. I mean, that hurt Age of Ultron, in my opinion. That hurt Thor Ragnarok immensely. And yeah, it's just that's the big issue I have with WandaVision, is that the ending was a thing that wasn't really seated in the show. And I mean, there's also, while I'm on the ending, there's also the other big problem that it's just not a very good ending. Like, Wanda does all this shit and basically gets off
scot-free.
Yeah, like, she gets nothing for. I mean, yeah, maybe.
I feel that we as a society are kind of obsessed with punishing people for wrongdoings rather than letting them see the error of their ways and work to atone for their actions.
But she doesn't even atone. Like, she just leaves.
I was going to say, but at the same time, she doesn't really do any active atonement either.
Just basically goes, oops, and leaves.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's Marvel. There's always... I mean, there's Marvel. There's always more down the line. There will probably be some reference to it in whatever she's next. But yeah, it's... and I'm not saying it's terrible by no means. It's a fun show, and I might even rewatch it when I do a Marvel rewatch at some point. But it's just kind of, squandered potential towards the end. And as I said, this might be a recurring theme with Marvel things today.
So from my perspective, because I watched it 2-3 months, I think, after it actually finished. I did manage to avoid most of the spoilers, I'm fairly sure. I certainly managed to avoid the fact that Darcy came back, which was quite a nice surprise.
Darcy was a lot better in that WandaVision than she was in the
Oh my
Thor movies.
god, she was so much better. Like, she was an actual person this time around.
Yep. Instead of a walking punchline.
Yeah.
I do have to point out that Jimmy Woo's actor, Randall Park, appeared in a House episode as a clinic patient who tried to circumcise himself with box cutters.
That sounds like a terrible idea and also extremely painful.
It was a terrible idea. He is one of the very few patients who has managed to shock House.
Jeez.
And House sums up his treatment in, we'll get a plastic surgeon to put the Twinkie back in the wrapper. But I just have to point that out because I always recognize him from that. That's the first time I ever saw Randall Park. But I think the cast did a very good job with their performances. Paul Bettany, I love Paul Bettany, and
Yeah, he's great.
and he's always fantastic.
I mean, that's another, I'm gonna say, slight issue is the wrong word, but it's another one of these Hollywood things where the guy's like twice the age of his female love interest, but at the same time they probably literally didn't know this is where it was going to go when they cast Paul Bettany for Iron Man 1 as Jarvis. So
I mean that's the thing.
They hold that against anyone in this case.
They literally cast him as a whim. They basically went, we need a voice for Jarvis. Hey, Paul Bettany, you're exactly. A friend of mine. Why didn't you come do the job?
Yeah. So I think it deserves to be addressed, but in this particular case, I'm not gonna hold that against anyone. Like, it's just, it happened.
Not to mention, there is a big power differential here too in the characters.
Yeah, of course.
Wanda is obscenely powerful.
I mean, isn't she technically like the most powerful Avenger? I don't know. I mean, let's not talk about power levels.
Based off of Endgame, she is one of the strongest, if not the strongest.
I mean, she's technically on par with Captain Marvel, I think, but at the same time, she's
on par with Captain Marvel and Thor. She's just switching either of them.
Yeah. But again, she has weird brain powers, so whatever. One more thing I wanted to say. Catherine Hahn, great, obviously. Agatha, fun character. She's gonna get her own show, and I really don't know why.
Because she's a great actress.
Yeah, but
this it feels like a cash grab.
Need their own show.
Yeah,
that's really that feels more pandery to me than Marvel usually is.
Yeah,
usually Marvel only panders to whatever Kevin Feige wants to happen, and this does not feel like that. This really feels like she was popular and we have that song, I guess.
Yeah, no, this feels like she's a popular character. We need to cash in on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably gonna watch it. I'm watching apparently everything. I didn't expect to watch Hawkeye, and I'm actually enjoying that quite a bit. But
have you seen the latest episode of
that? Yes, I have.
We'll talk about that when we get to Hawkeye.
Yeah,
it's not on the fucking list. Why would nobody put that on the list?
Because it's not done yet. Like, it's kind of hard to talk about shows that aren't done yet.
Let's put it on the list right now. Then.
I put it on the list. Yeah. Again, we're talking about a lot of Marvel stuff today, so I'm not gonna get into Hawkeye now. But no, what I wanted to say is just it's kind of weird that she's gonna get her own show. I don't really get that. I'll probably watch it, but I don't really get it.
Yeah, I get it.
I mean, WandaVision, enjoyable enough show. Its ending did not live up to the expectations it had set in the first half.
And especially in the first half, just really fun concept, honestly.
Yeah.
Like,
really enjoyable concept.
I've seen.
Not to mention, just it's the atmosphere it sets is just so well done because obviously the first couple episodes where you don't understand what's going on is just this sort of light-hearted thing of spoofing on the 50s and 60s TV, and then you suddenly start to see the inconsistencies, and then you get the stuff outside the bubble, and you're going, oh fuck, and things just start to get all the more sinister.
Yeah, one more thing, like, why cast Evan Peters?
To troll everyone.
I mean that was just the most trolly move.
Yeah.
Because people were going on for weeks, like, what does this mean? And it means nothing. It's just
I'm honestly kind of impressed.
I am as well, amazing. Actually. I'm actually actually okay with it.
I'm both amazed, impressed, and pissed at the same time.
That's impressive, getting that reaction from anyone.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, whoa, okay.
But yeah, we should move on because
Yeah,
we're
absolutely.
spending a long time on everything.
Moving on to yet another Marvel's property, and again one that may not have gotten the best reaction, Black Widow.
Oh boy.
Oh, Black Widow. You had so much potential if you were released 3 years ago.
Black Widow, you could have been pretty good, and you turned out.
I haven't watched this. I know it's on Disney Plus. I just haven't felt the desire to watch it at all.
So the two biggest knocks against Black Widow are that it should have been released sometime between Civil War and
Avengers 2.
It should have come out before Avengers.
Years ago, yeah.
At the latest. And second, it has the classic Marvel third act problem where everything just becomes one big action sequence. That's
kind of the thing. Like I wasn't super into it before that, but I was enjoying it fine. Like it was alright. And when they made the plan, by the time they made the plan, it was already obvious where this was going. But when it moved there, it was like, okay, he has this compound, and we're going to infiltrate that compound. And it was like, okay, that is cool. That's all right. Do that. And then it's like, but it's a flying, shit, and then like, but it's a flying fortress, and like, oh no, I was like, oh no, that's not good. And by that point, it completely loses me. Like, honestly, I do not enjoy the ending at all. It's so.
I will say that the best part about the movie was easily Florence Pugh as Elena.
Yes, absolutely. She's great, and she had a lot of fun with it.
Fantastic, and I'm glad we're getting more of her in Hawkeye.
Yes, absolutely.
It's like, you do that thing where you land like that. You're such a poser.
And she doesn't. It's like, no, not for me.
She's so great.
Like that's kind of the thing. The movie's called Black Widow, but she's by far the weakest part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not even really about her. She's just in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like all movies she's in. The part about her that's interesting happens off screen.
The best performance for Black Widow, from Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow, is in the movie she dies in.
Yeah. Which
fucking sucks, because, like, it had so much potential to go from there, and, nope, she...
I mean, like, that's also just kind of the thing. I think that's the Marvel thing. Like, they don't want to make movies about their bad guy. Loki set aside, but that's a special case.
Loki's basically a good guy at this point.
Yeah.
He's an anti-hero now.
What Black Widow should have been is the movie about her working as a Black Widow assassin.
It should have been about the Budapest mission, damn it.
and exactly, and it should have ended with Hawkeye basically recruiting her out of that into S.H.I.E.L.D.
That would have been great. That would have been an awesome movie.
And what it was instead was just a kind of boilerplate spy movie that completely lost its shit by the end. So yeah,
There were some good moments here and there. I do also want to say that the opening credit scene was genuinely chilling.
Yeah. No, I mean, generally, like, that's always my thing. Like, Marvel movies are usually not bad. They are always, at least, like, they usually hit at least entertaining level. And
at the very worst, they're mediocre. I have never seen a bad movie.
Exactly. Like, Black Widow was perfectly entertaining for most of the time. Like, I didn't regret going to see it. It's just, it could have been much better, and it wasn't very interesting. It was basically a movie, like, if I were to watch it at home, I'd probably do something else on the side while watching it.
Same. But yeah, you want to move on then?
Sure.
Moving on to something that we have already discussed at quite a bit of length, but we'll discuss it anyway. Brooklyn Nine-Nine Season 8.
Yeah, we'll probably keep it short on this one because we've discussed the whole series at length, but Season 8 was a really good wrap-up to the series.
It was. It was in a tough position given everything that was happening around it, and While it maybe
Yeah.
didn't manage to knock it out of the park, it did as well as it could have done.
Yeah. It was the best wrap-up we could have asked for.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, I love that the series ended on a Halloween heist.
It had to. It was such a staple that there was no other way they could end it, really. Especially after such a serious season in general.
Yeah.
Because like most of the time they only spend sort of maybe 3 episodes a season focusing on like serious societal issues. They focused a good 8 episodes of the season on it instead.
Yep.
But yeah,
I mean, it does do a good job of just justifying why the show is ending and why so many characters are leaving.
No, it definitely does, and it does a good job of setting up the ending as well, so that it does, it absolutely makes sense based on what we know of the characters.
Yeah. Brooklyn Nine-Nine ended well. Better than a lot of other sitcoms I've seen.
I mean, I think it helps that it just didn't get... It just didn't get the chance to outstay its welcome, and so we've got 8 seasons of very strong writing.
Yeah. It didn't get turned into a franchise zombie, which is important.
Yeah.
For continued quality.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to be fair, there are some series that have gotten to finished at 8 seasons and have still managed to pass that franchise zombie point. But I think that says something about the quality of both Brooklyn Nine-Nine's writing and the cast's performances.
Not to mention the quality of the core premise.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, very good. Watch both it and our podcast about it, which should be up on YouTube, I'm fairly sure. But moving on to Castlevania Season 4, is this, or 3?
4.
4.
It's the final season. And goddamn, is it a good ending. Just like the entire last season is just really well developed. Like, I feel like Season 3 was a bit of a slump in the quality of the show, but Season 4 wraps things up really well. And gives almost every character a satisfying conclusion to their journey. And the final fight in the series is just jaw-droppingly amazing. It has some of the best animation I've seen in a fight all year. Like, better than several of the anime I've watched, actually. Just like, god damn, the show is very good. This is one of the best video game adaptations I've ever seen. Not that that's a high bar, mind you.
Well, Arcane is also a video game adaptation.
Well, it says a lot that we've gotten 2, possibly 3, if we talk about The Witcher once we've actually seen that. High quality video game adaptations in 1 year. And last year we got Sonic, which was also surprisingly good.
Haven't seen that.
Oh, Sonic.
The fucking trailer for the sequel came out the other day, and people lost their shit over it.
Well, I mean, my take on it is that it immediately proved Idris Elba's statement of, "Oh, I'm going to try and make Knuckles not sexy," completely wrong.
Idris Elba is incapable of making something not sexy.
I was gonna say, like, he has to try to make things not sexy, so
Like, it's like that one gif of him in The Office. I seem to have that effect on women.
I mean, Knuckles...
apply that to the entire internet.
Knuckles wasn't even in the trailer that much, and he still managed to make Knuckles look sexy. And sound sexy.
Yeah. That's the effect of Idris Elba.
Yeah.
Yeah, back to Castlevania. Really good show. Season 3 is easily the weakest of the seasons, but like Season 4 makes it well worth it. Like, I only have a couple minor quibbles with the season overall, but honestly, it's a really well done season. So It's a good ending.
I seem to recall it spawning a meme of, I think it's Trevor coming in and trying to put the beat down on someone and failing completely.
Yeah.
Because it just does nothing.
That was season 2.
Oh, was that season 2? Okay.
Yeah, it's Trevor taking on Dracula, punching him in the face a few times, and it does absolutely fuck all.
Yeah.
And Dracula responds with, "Oh, you must be the Belmont." Which is just such a good way of establishing rapport between the main hero and the main villain of the show at that point.
Well, that was one meme. The other one was, which definitely did start this year, was people syncing up songs to Trevor trying to put the beat down on
Dracula.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Anyway, yeah.
But yeah, we can move on
to Demon Slayer Mugen Train. Obviously, we have talked about the anime adaptation of this in our anime streams. This is the movie, which
pretty damn good.
I mean, it's basically the same as the anime, maybe a little bit shorter and a little bit more coherent, given the fact that it's not been split up into episodes. But
and unfortunately, it does lack one of the best things about the anime, which is the OP.
Yeah. I mean, there's really not much for us to say about it other than it's Ufotable's generally great tax-free animation. The story is workable. It's not. I'd argue it's not spectacular, given the fact that it's based around a character we know for all of 5 minutes before he shows up, or before he shows up in the movie, and then we're expected to care massively about his death. Not to mention, it just sort of scraps the first antagonist halfway through the movie to bring in a second one.
Yeah, honestly though, Akaza is a much better character than Enmu. At least he's a lot more intimidating than Enmu.
Yeah. Again, it just... Maybe it does flow better in the manga, but as a movie and even as an anime adaptation, it just seems weird.
Yeah. Understandable, honestly.
Like, the movie in particular definitely feels like a manga arc.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's it's definitely a good movie. Its visuals are stunning, but it's probably not something I'd see myself. Well, I didn't go out and watch it in cinemas because I'm still boycotting them because they're disease-ridden shitholes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I just can't justify spending 2 hours locked inside a cinema with people.
Fair enough.
Even with a mask, it's just not worth it. Even if I had to use a VPN to watch this, I'd still prefer it. And even if it was a bitch to do, and I ended up dropping, what was it, 15, 20 quid trying to get a US Amazon gift card so I could buy it on US Amazon, only to learn that wouldn't work. Yeah, that was annoying. But I still watched it in the end.
Yep. But moving on to
Ducktales season 4, 3.
The final season. I think most of the final season actually aired in 2020, but the series wrapped up this year.
Right.
Yeah, I think it was a good finish to the series, and it's a really fun series overall. I do love the continuity and the the various mythology gags to other whatchamacallits, to all the to all the lore that derives from the DuckTales comics and shows past.
Yeah.
It's like just a really fun cavalcade of continuity and mythology gags throughout the whole series, but this season in particular.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, dang, this wrapped up like near the beginning of the year, so I don't remember a lot of it very well, but the show was so good. I'm sad that it ended.
Mm.
Even if I do think the ending was well written. On the plus side, I believe we're getting a spin-off at some point in the near future.
Sounds good.
Oh, really? What are they spinning off?
I believe they're doing whatchamacallits, Darkwing Duck reboots featuring the version from this show.
Interesting.
I could be entirely wrong though. They could have decided not to do that, but I hope they do continue with that plan.
I mean, I haven't really seen much of new Ducktales, but just given how TV is made today, Darkwing Duck could be very interesting.
Yeah.
To tackle.
Also, Launchpad is a funny, glorious himbo throughout the show, so it's always fun to see him. It'll be fun to see more of him. Yeah, DuckTales, good show. And you should definitely watch it. It's probably one of the best reboots I've ever seen.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about it, and I've seen I've watched the first 2 episodes, but then I kind of I didn't even fall off. I just started doing other things. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no, but I definitely want to watch it.
Moving on then to Dune.
Oh, Dune. I love Dune.
I gotta say, I read the first book and I finished it earlier this year, like a week or two ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was not. I liked it well enough, but I was not jazzed by how the pacing was handled.
I mean, Frank Herbert doesn't pace his books; he just writes.
It was
just writes
pacing
down
was
everything.
all over the place.
Yeah, there is no pacing.
Yeah, I feel like the movie handled the pacing a bit better.
Probably. I mean, I don't think it's a secret that I love Dune in all its shapes and forms, and I would generally not be opposed to just do a Dune episode at some point.
I think it's on the bracket. Where is it?
I really liked the movie. I honestly really liked it.
The movie was
it obviously is only half a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone knew that going in, I think.
So we saw what happened when they tried to cram all of the book into one movie.
Exactly.
And it didn't end exactly all the best.
I mean, exactly. The weirdest thing about this one is that they didn't greenlight the second one until like a few weeks ago. But no, I really liked this movie. It's a beautiful movie. It looks really good. Like some of the shots still haunt me. It's well acted. Like I enjoyed most of the cast. I think they kind of fucked it up on Thufir Howard because he isn't really in the movie, and he's much more important in the books. And in the movie, he's just kind of just like an old guy. But I get it. Like Dune is a lot, and it's basically unadaptable if you just make the book into a movie. You need to cut some corners, and that was a corner that they had to. Like they had to cut a corner, and that cutting that corner in what they came out with made sense.
Yeah.
Before I saw the movie, I did not expect to like Jason Momoa as Duncan Idaho, but I loved it. It was very good.
To be fair, Jason Momoa is extremely charming.
Yeah,
And
but I didn't think that would work. I thought Jason Momoa's kind of charm would not work for Duncan Idaho. But it did. It worked perfectly.
Well, at least you got to eat your words in a way that you liked.
Yeah. Like I find it hard to say anything definitive about Dune because people who care about Dune have seen it already. People who don't care about Dune will not care about Dune because of half a movie. I think it did what it set out to do, which was make Dune accessible to people who maybe aren't that into it yet. Because it trimmed things down, and I believe I can't tell you because I've read the books 6 times or something. I believe it made things easier to understand than the books.
I think so.
But I mean,
at least it didn't like it didn't delve into those very deep philosophical monologues to the degree that the books do.
yeah, I mean that's
Which
the
definitely
thing.
helps streamline things.
The story of Dune is intensely political, and that
Yeah.
just does not make for a good movie because it's something you basically can't visualize at all. You just have to tell people.
Mm-hmm.
And to an extent that happened. Like, someone who just watched the movie will not know things that are technically important, and I say technically important because they only matter if they do all of Dune, but they won't. They will make the first book. We'll make 2 movies that cover the first book, and that will be it, I assume. Maybe they'll do more. That I wouldn't hate that, but I don't think they will, just because Dune is fucking weird, and at some point you gotta get out.
Yeah, I decided to get that after reading the first book because I'm not going past that.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I have heard things.
I've said it before. It's my dad had the whole collection, and the first 2 books were completely, like, they were basically falling apart from being read so much. And as you went down the line, like the 5th and 6th book had never been touched. To this day, like, no one in my family has read these 2 books.
Wow, says a lot, right there.
And it's not even that they're bad. It's just it gets batshit crazy. But yeah, I love Dune. I like the movie very much. I'm absolutely looking forward to the next one. And if we ever want to do a Dune episode, I'm definitely here for that, because I can talk about Dune forever if I have to.
I've stuck it on the schedule. It'll come up eventually.
Nice.
Moving back.
Maybe it'll come up.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Maybe it'll come up after the second movie comes out.
Maybe.
Yeah. And just to already say it, like, I would do Dune 1 and not any of the rest. Like, I might mention it when we do an episode, but I wouldn't expect anyone to read more than the first book. Because, again, after that, only read that if you're really into it.
Mm-hmm. Moving back to the Marvel Studio side of things, Eternals, which I have also not watched.
Thing I haven't seen this year.
So Eternals is weird in that it is, like, fairly good in, like, the performances and the set design and the effects and like the scope and scale of things. The issue is one of, like, this very much should have been a 6-episode miniseries, not a 2.5-hour movie.
Right.
Like, you have a central cast of 10 characters, plus several other characters and concepts that need to be explored and explained.
Yeah.
And you're introducing a whole new area of the MCU here.
Wasn't this originally planned to be a series? Or am I confusing this with something else? I don't
think so.
I genuinely don't know.
Yeah, no, it had a lot. It has a lot of potential, and it is fairly good. It's just, like, the issue is of pacing and focus, and like, having a bunch of flashbacks throughout the narrative as it develops its cast of characters, and having those flashbacks take place across thousands of years. Really neat in concept and kind of in execution. It's just like, this should have been a miniseries.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
But yeah, like, most of the characters are also really fun characters. Just, like, a few of them just do not get the development that they need to be as compelling as they could be.
I mean, yeah, if you have 10 characters in one movie, that's probably...
It's a lot.
Yeah, that's a sacrifice you'll have to make.
Didn't we get, like, the first, like, named gay characters in this as well?
Yeah, we actually get the first canon... Disney's first canon gay character.
Yeah, I mean...
And it's actually, like, explicitly shown on screen.
I mean, good for them, but also, boy, am I done with getting the first Disney gay character.
This is the actual first one, though. There is no denying it. There is no subtexting it. This is actually, like,
What
He
about
is
what
gay.
about
He is
that?
married
good
to
Disney.
another man
It
with a
only
kid.
you like 17 years.
What about that dude from fucking Endgame? Does he not count?
He doesn't count as a named character, unfortunately, because he's not named.
Group.
Well, you weren't specifying names, so that's what confused me.
Okay, that's fair. But yeah, Fastos is canonically gay, and he has a husband and kid, and he kisses his husband on screen, which is basically
Most
like
unorthodox.
yes, but that's about as textual as you can possibly be.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, good for them. It only took them, I don't know.
I don't know.
7 years?
People are still gonna say they're just really good friends.
Those people are idiots.
Yeah, those people are the same people who fucking watched Given for like 7 episodes and then got really surprised that it was gay.
Those people are also idiots.
Still fucking amuses me so much.
But yeah, no, the movie is really good about representation. Honestly, it has a very diverse cast.
Well, there's 10 people.
Well, yeah, but only like of the 10 Eternals, if I recall correctly, only 2 of them are white dudes.
Good. I mean, about time.
Yeah. Oh, and the main character is an Asian woman.
Cool. Again,
Angelina isn't even the main character.
Again, you know,
was, because she was the biggest name.
Again, once it drops on Disney Plus, I'll probably give it a watch.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's
I've
definitely worth
seen
watching.
everything else Marvel. Why wouldn't I watch it?
It has some wild stuff in it too. It's as with all Marvel movies, there's post-credit stuff that's actually probably going to be important.
Oh shit!
I remember watching it in the theater too, and people went absolutely nuts when the first post-credits thing happened because Harry Styles was in it.
Oh God, Harry Styles is Mephisto.
No, he's not.
And he did Wandavision.
The character he plays is actually weirder. I won't say any more. But yeah, no, this isn't too bad. I honestly would recommend watching it at some point, like when it drops on Disney Plus.
Yeah. Moving on to yet another Marvel property, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Dear God, how did they drop the ball on this?
Oh yeah, he has a show that never came into his own, and then kind of just.
It was a fine. It was a fine, you know, action slog show, and then it decided to make John Walker a good guy.
Yeah, that was really, really dumb. He just shouldn't have.
John Walker really should. I kind of hope they put him in the Thunderbolts, honestly, when that comes around. Because that would work a lot better for his character than him being like an out-and-out good guy.
Yeah, because he's not an out-and-out good guy.
He's not. Especially like they did the thing like that image with the Captain America shit splattered with blood. That was such a good like visual, and to then basically backpedal on that is just such a squandered move. Like it's just not a good move. They shouldn't have done it. They should have. But that's what I said earlier. Like they don't want to make shows about bad guys. And again, they didn't. They didn't want to.
I mean, it's just so disappointing because everything with Sam and Bucky, I think, was superb.
Like their relationship was great.
Yeah, like Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie have just damn near perfect chemistry.
Yes, absolutely. Like that really worked for me, and that Sam Wilson was gonna be the next Captain America was basically clear, and everyone who disagrees with that like doesn't know what's happening in the comics these days. Fine, like that was always gonna happen.
It's an American show. You can never be too sure about what route they're gonna go with for a black character.
But Marvel still has this completely wrong idea that they can make people read the comics by making the movies, and so they are going to put the guy in the Captain America suit that is that has comics coming out where he's wearing a Captain America suit. And that's not Bucky.
Yeah. I mean, honestly...
I am glad they stuck with it being Sam.
Yeah. Oh, no, definitely.
Yeah, no, I'm super happy with that. And especially since they brought in... Shit, I forget his name.
Zemo?
No. Fuck, what's his name? The old black Captain America.
Oh,
guy.
that guy, yes.
Elijah.
Elijah,
yes. Like
He was
they
really good in the show. I like how
good work.
Yeah.
And
The show
then they fucked it up.
the show was a bit wonky here and there, but its handling of like just America and race was really good.
Right up until John Walker.
Yeah, I mean that's what I mean when I say it never really came into its own, because it kind of it wanted to be three things and it ended up not really being any of them, and instead kind of just being this.
I mean, of the three main plot lines, Sam struggling to live up to Captain America and the Shield, Bucky trying to overcome his trauma, and John Walker's whole story. I'd say the first two did pretty well.
Yeah, I mean
I could have done with more. Like the Bucky thing kind of lost focus for me.
Yeah, it did lose focus, but it was handled fairly well.
But when it happened, it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I also thought the first episode in particular looked really, really good. Like it was very well shot, but that didn't really stick around. And also I don't even remember what they were called, like the terrorists.
Flag Smashers.
Yeah, they were not good. Like they were just.
The Flag Smashers were a bit.
Yeah.
I also was like really conflicted on what they did with Sharon Carter in this.
Yeah, I think that's one of those things where they had a plan, and then they realized that plan was bad, and then they did something else, and now they're just kind of stuck having her in this universe. Because, I mean, I would say it's pretty clear that they planned on having her basically take Peggy Carter's place as Captain America's love interest. But that's A, weird, and
nobody liked
B,
that.
just nobody liked that, and that also just from where the movies went, that never really panned out. Like they had that one scene where they kissed in
and then she was never seen
Return
again.
of the Winter Soldier, and then she was just gone. And
well,
so
it's a case. It's a case of
anything there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a case of from the end of Civil War. Steve Rogers never got screen time until the world went to shit.
I mean,
there wasn't much of an opportunity for him.
They didn't want to do it. It's just they couldn't. Like they just didn't have the time to do it, and now they just kind of have her there, and she's obviously part of the whole Captain America thing, which obviously carries on through Sam Wilson. But I agree. I'm not a huge fan of what they've done with her, but at the same time, what else are they going to do with her? Like, they can't really make her the badass American agent, because that's what Black Widow was, and that's probably what they're going to do with Florence Pugh now, so they can't really do that, and they need to do something. So I get why she is there in that function, but I agree that that doesn't really work for her.
You know who was used well in the show, though? Was Zemo.
Yes.
Oh, Zemo.
The fucking scene of him in the nightclub.
They knew exactly what they were doing, because damn near immediately after the episode, they uploaded a fucking 1 hour cut of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But he also was just actually very well used.
Yeah.
Like, he really worked in this show. Like, it was.
I love his whole. His dynamic with Sam and Bucky was just phenomenal.
Yeah. It was well done. And that was one of those things I always say when I talk about not even Marvel alone, just modern Disney non-cartoons, is tone is dead. Movies don't have tone anymore, because nothing can be serious, everything needs to be funny, but also serious at the same time. But he fit into this mold perfectly.
Yeah.
Because even when he was like bantering with them, he was also still fucking crazy, and you honestly didn't know if he was gonna fly off the handle the next second. That worked really well. But overall, I'd say Falcon and Winter Soldier is alright. The ending is like a huge drop ball, and And the rest, like, I don't know. I liked it fine. I know a few people who really couldn't get into it. Yeah, it's all right.
I mean, if I'm gonna go back to it, it's more likely I'm gonna go back to it through like YouTube compilations of Sam and Bucky just being fucking themselves.
Maybe just watching a few episodes or something.
Yeah.
Probably
such a fantastic dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works really well. And both actors just go all in on it. Like, that's important. Like, neither of them kind of tries to do the "I'm Steve Rogers now" thing. They keep being their characters. That really works.
Yeah. Moving on to something I hadn't even heard of before I saw it on the list. Free Guy.
Yes, the latest Ryan Reynolds movie.
Go ahead, dude. I literally haven't. As I said, I literally haven't heard of it.
It's a pretty fun movie. I wanted to put something on the list that was kind of like a dumb, goofy blockbuster that wasn't like anything special, but wasn't anything terrible either. It was a pretty fun, okay movie, and I do appreciate that it does go the route of not having the male lead and the female lead automatically be like the end game couple. Partially because the male lead is a computer program, and that would be kind of physically infeasible.
Haven't seen Her, huh?
What was that?
Haven't seen Her, have you?
Jodie Comer?
No, it's the Joaquin Phoenix, Scarlett Johansson.
Oh yeah, no.
She is back.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. Only heard of it.
Trust me, just because it seems unfeasible doesn't mean they won't try. All in the name of heterosexuality.
I will say though, the movie was pretty fun. I did like there was a bit in the climax that was really funny where basically because the main character guy is fighting against like a roided up super version of himself, and he starts digging through his item inventory and he pulls out Captain America's shield and then a lightsaber, and it is hilarious because after he pulls out Captain America's shield, everyone is watching this, by the way, like everyone around the world is watching this happen. After he pulls out Captain America's shield, you get a cameo by Chris Evans who says, "What the shit?"
Damn.
Which is an excellent use of a cameo.
Yeah.
That's how you cameo people.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a dumb fun movie. Like if it's on streaming and you have time to kill and you are bored, it's worth watching, for sure.
Speaking of dumb fun movies, Godzilla vs. Kong. I mean, this is just the epitome of a kid just smashing two action figures together, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's fucking awesome.
I'm not saying it's not awesome. I'm just saying that's what it is.
Okay, you're not wrong, but that doesn't detract from the awesomeness that is this movie. This is a movie that was like 75 years in the making.
I mean, there was a Godzilla vs. Kong back in the day, wasn't there?
There was, but it was like,
I mean,
it's very old and it hasn't aged very well.
I think
This movie is just so fucking fun.
This is actually in continuity with the Skull Island and Godzilla movie, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
That's amazing. I need to catch up on those. I've only seen the Godzilla one. I need to watch Skull Island and this one.
Skull Island is actually really good, honestly.
Yeah, I keep hearing that. Like, and I want to see it. I just always something else.
Hey, Anjay Gaming. Which one is Skull Island?
Skull Island is the one with Samuel L. Jackson. It's the one that has the new Kong in it.
When did it come out?
Came out like 3 years ago or something.
Okay, no, it's not the Peter Jackson one then. That one I did watch.
No.
No, the Peter Jackson one is the one with Jack Black in it.
Yeah.
It's hilarious to me that Jack Black was in a King Kong movie.
Great, yeah. Skull Island is actually the movie where Sam Jackson and Brie Larson met and basically
Hit it off?
the reason Captain Marvel the movie is what it is.
Yeah.
Because she pretty much said, if I do it, I want to do it with Sam Jackson.
Understandable. Sam Jackson is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they are apparently just really good friends in real life.
It's not a duo I would have expected, but hey, good for them.
Hey, good for them, yeah.
It's kind of funny that the Skull Island has 3 Marvel people in it, because it also has Tom Hiddleston.
Yep.
Yeah, back to this movie. Yeah, this is fun. This is really dumb fun, but it is so amazing. Just seeing 2 of the biggest monsters in movie history just go at it. And just watching the carnage unfold.
Even the trailer has that feel of like, damn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Godzilla. So they go 3 different rounds, and Godzilla wins the first, Kong wins the second, and I won't say who wins the third. Because that's spoiling. Yeah, as is usual in these team-up movies, after they fight, the actual big bad comes to the fore, and they team up to fight the big bad. Shocker, I know.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
I mean, I think at this point that's just what happens in Godzilla movies. I mean, I still remember when I went to Universal Studios Japan and they had a fucking like 3D movie of Godzilla versus the Evangelion crew.
Oh my god!
Like they just fought for a little bit and then somebody else appeared. Like I think it might have been Ghidorah just appears and then they ended up fighting together and then Godzilla just went back into the sea. I think Godzilla at this point just gets bored. Just comes out for a brawl every few years.
How Godzilla has handled these days. It just kind of shows up, smashes some shit, and goes back, and everyone's like, okay, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, in universe, they've got to have like Godzilla insurance at this point, right?
Probably. Though let's be real, this movie was made for people to just watch a blockbuster of giant monsters punching each other. And
yeah,
it was,
absolutely.
Yeah, it was fun. It was real fun.
Falls into that same category of like Rampage and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just
honestly,
here's the big thing, have fun.
Yeah, this was actually the first movie I watched in theaters this year.
Cool.
But yeah, no. Moving on to
Hawkeye.
More Marvel.
More Marvel, yeah.
Again, I have not watched any of this.
Are you okay if we spoil a thing from the most recent episode that isn't really like super relevant, but also kind of relevant?
Sod it. I think I'm a bit after binging the entire MCU in like the space of a few months. I think I'm probably a little bit burnt out on Marvel, so I'm probably not going to go back to it for a while.
Okay. Most recent episode introduced us to the villain of the show, and it's a surprise because
it's Mephisto.
No one ever thought... No, it's not. It's a surprise because it's a character from one of the Netflix shows.
Much more evil. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Kingpin.
Kingpin.
Netflix Marvel is very much canon again.
Yeah.
Does that mean I have to watch that as well?
It shouldn't. If you want to watch it, go for it.
Season 1 really, really good.
Season 2 is okay. Season 3 is also really, really good.
Alright, Season 3...
I mean, I'm interested in watching Agent Carter, if only because I do love...
Haley Atwell?
Yeah, I really love her performances.
Great in that.
Yeah.
Not to mention you get to see more young... young...
Netflix.
Whatever his name is, Stark. I can't remember the dad's name.
Howard.
Young Howard Stark, who, again, very hot.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a Stark. He has to be hot.
It's the mustache. It's the mustache that does it.
That's one of their superpowers.
Hawkeye's still a pretty fun show, and it is kind of carried by the 2 leads.
I honestly didn't expect to like it at all. I thought I was gonna very much I thought it was going to be a slog, but it's absolutely like Jeremy Renner and Haley Steinfeld have great chemistry. They are super fun together.
Haley Steinfeld is just such a great actress, honestly.
Yeah, she's really good. Like I need to watch more stuff with her in it.
She was in Spider-Verse. She was
Yeah.
Spider-Gwen.
And she was great in that too.
But yeah, no, Hawkeye's a fun show. I do appreciate the nuances of characters involved, honestly.
Yeah, I also think it's very, very well themed. Like it's because it's very much again about something he put in the world that he now has to fix, and that is kind of that's his thing. He's either faced with things that are way too big for him, or he's cleaning shit up.
Yeah. Honestly, I appreciate Marvel doing a mix of high level stuff and grounded stuff.
Yes,
because it gives a lot of perspective.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see the street level things happen.
You have a bunch of gods fighting in the sky, and then you have Hawkeye around like, damn it, I got beaten up again by a bunch of Russian dudes in tracksuits who say bro a lot.
Yep.
Fucking tracksuit mafia is hilarious.
Yeah. Obviously, also great that they brought Florence Pugh back.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
she's again wonderful.
Yeah.
I love Elena so much. She's great.
I mean, I assume she's essentially going to fill the Black Widow role in the next phase, and I'm happy for it because she's really good in that role.
I would be unsurprised if she wound up being either on the Thunderbolts or on the Young Avengers.
Yeah.
Because it would make sense either way.
Yeah, definitely.
Are they still setting up the Young Avengers?
Young Avengers, yeah. That's probably going to be a Phase 5 thing, or late Phase 4. But they've been setting that up for a while now.
Yep.
But Kate Bishop, I believe, is one of the founding members.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the thing I want to say. The thing I really liked was when she told her mother to investigate the guy.
Yeah.
And her mother just did it. Like, I fully expected her to not do it. Because that's how these things go.
I mean, given the reveal at the end of the most recent episode, I half expect that she had set him up as a fall guy to begin with.
Yes, of course. Like, at this point, it obviously, like, it hits very differently, but just how these stories usually develop, I did not expect that to happen. That was a good, hey, cool moment.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, with the news reveals, it's like, oh shit. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say more just because the show hasn't finished yet, and we don't know. It might majorly drop the ball. We've seen that happen before.
I mean, yeah, out of the current like properly canon Marvel shows.
Let's say Marvel TV struggles with endings.
Yes, I would argue that one of the ones coming up, I don't think did that, but overall, yes, it definitely has struggled with endings.
Yeah.
But moving on,
we'll see how this one ends.
Yeah. Moving on though to Invincible.
Okay, first things first. The show is fucking brutal. Like, out of all the cartoons I've seen, except for maybe a handful of anime, this is one of the most violent shows I have ever seen. But goddamn, is it good?
Yeah.
Like, also the voice cast is just amazing. You have J.K. Simmons as Omni-Man,
it has J.K. Simmons, which already makes it better than most other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons is always a win. Yeah. As much as I am starting to get tired of the formula of the Beware the Superman type thing, it works here, especially since it's like, oh yeah, his son has no idea about this. No one has any idea about this. But the Superman analog is evil, and they're all boned. Because they have no way of dealing with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a really good demonstration of his power level in the second episode, where he just utterly annihilates an alien civilization on his own by the simple act of flying around the planet at some extremely high speeds and just flying through stuff.
Didn't he just like completely murder the entire Justice League like XP as well?
Yeah, at the end of episode 1. Like, the first episode does not give you any suggestion that the show will be as dark as it gets. And then Omni-Man just massacres the entire not Justice League, and fuck. Yeah, no, the show is really good, though.
Yeah.
Like, it handles superheroics in a way that most superhero shows wouldn't even touch. By just showing how, like, difficult and brutal it can be, while also just being surprisingly earnest in the majority of its cast, who very clearly want to do good, but struggle with their inexperience or their own personal issues.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more interesting and nuanced than, say, like, a hyper-cynical show that's like, oh yeah, dark superheroes. Oh yeah. You know?
Yeah, I got tired of The Boys too.
I like The Boys well enough, but
I've only seen the first season, and then I just couldn't get interested anymore. It's just like, no, we've been here.
Completely fair. It is. The Boys is very dark. The show has a lot more optimism behind it than The Boys does.
I admittedly also was thinking of that, but I didn't want to say it because I was fairly sure you did enjoy it, Jack. So I didn't think that's what you were referencing.
I kind of was, but I kind of wasn't. I did enjoy The Boys, but at the same time,
I mean, The Boys isn't the first one to do that. Like, since Watchmen, everyone tried, and no one did it that
The
well.
Boys is the one that's the most famous around right now, until Invincible came along. Also, Invincible made me cry in the final episode of the first season, so,
Also spawned quite a few memes.
Yes.
Think, Mark! Think! God damn it. The meme just, like... I had not caught up on the show by the time that meme became a thing, but god damn.
Yeah.
It was everywhere once that episode aired.
Oh, absolutely. But moving on to...
More Marvel!
More Marvel! Loki, which is the show I do think actually managed to stick its landing, for the most part.
Mostly.
It had the best ending of the shows that have ended so far this year.
Look, I'm still...
There were still a few stumbles, but none as bad.
I'm still not 100% sure I'm on board with the self-cest, but...
No, that was a good joke the first time it was brought up. Like when you said, like, you're so narcissistic you can only love yourself. That was a good joke. That was a good funny line.
And then they made it canon.
And I was like, oh no, you shouldn't have done that. Because it didn't work. Like, it just did not work for me at all.
The romance of the show is just kind of eh.
Yeah. It just didn't. It didn't need to be there. I mean, it's not even that gross. Like, it's essentially masturbation. But
I mean,
but again, that's
always those things. Like
again,
that.
That's funny. That's a funny joke. Don't play it seriously.
Yeah.
I do feel like Loki had a lot better chemistry with Mobius than he did with Sylvie.
Yeah.
Why couldn't we get more Owen Wilson though?
But
instead
that
of
was
the romance?
Also due to the writing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I do like that they confirmed that Loki is bisexual in the show.
Yeah.
But I wish they actually showed it rather than just telling us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, but this was not that show, so I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I guess. It's just like... yeah. I also do appreciate, like, all the crazy timeline shenaniganry that happens this show.
Yeah, that was great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
especially, though I will say, like, the main villain revealed at the end of the show is performed fucking excellently.
That's Marvel, right?
Yeah.
Like it's set up. It's mostly set up. It doesn't really resolve Loki. It's more set up than anything else.
I feel kind of sad about that reveal because my reaction to it was, oh god, are the Conservatives going to be annoyed that a black man is running the universe?
Honestly, Jonathan Majors though is just such a fantastic actor.
No, it was really well done. Like you genuinely got the sense that he had very slowly gone insane, and that he was at the end of his rope.
Yeah. No, again, as I said, biggest stumbling block there probably that it just essentially didn't really connect to Loki. Like it wasn't.
It was very much more just getting Loki to the point he was at the end of Ragnarok and
set
start
up for
of
what was going to come
Infinity
later,
War.
not resolution of what came before it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how Marvel works. At some point in the future, this House of Cards is going to collapse. But I've been saying that for 10 years. So
I mean, in fairness, the last time we got payoff to Marvel setup, it was Infinity War and Endgame. Which were
exactly.
Pretty fucking good. So I can't argue with their strategies.
No, it obviously works.
Yeah.
It's just, but that's the thing. It works in the grand scheme, but it kind of hurts the individual properties.
Yes.
In this case, Loki, because Loki didn't really end. Loki got some setup for the future, and then another scene that set up the next season. That was how the show ended.
It's gonna be fun seeing King the Conqueror in action.
Yeah.
But like,
just such a good character.
I mean, I'm just glad we get more Owen Wilson in the MCU.
Owen Wilson is great.
Yes.
Wow.
Someone buy that man a jet ski.
He deserves it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But moving on.
I mean, we do need to point out the sad thing that fuck the voice actress of Miss Minutes for getting into NFTs.
God damn it.
That was disappointing, and I'd rather not talk about it.
Yeah, I just wanted to point it out. That was there anything else? Oh, fucking the fucking other Loki variants.
That was fun. That was great.
Was super good, yeah.
Fucking alligator Loki.
Yeah. I think it was super fun. I think they could have done even more with it. Like have a few people who voiced Loki in games or animated shows or stuff like that. But it's fine. They don't have to do that.
And it's possible. It's possible we'll get more of that in the second season, but we'll just have to see.
Yeah.
But moving on to Mortal Kombat. Get over here.
Mortal Kombat. I mean, much like Godzilla vs. Kong, this is dumb fun. But it's surprisingly good for a video game movie.
I mean, has there ever been a Mortal Kombat movie that wasn't just dumb fun?
No, but unlike the second movie from the 90s, this one's actually good. Like, the action scenes are consistently very well choreographed, to say the least, and
I mean, the whole point of Mortal Kombat's overall story is to just give the characters an excuse to fight.
Yeah. That is the gist of things, yes. But it's, I feel like the plot is pretty fun, even if it's like those are just set up for the actual Mortal Kombat tournament that will presumably happen in a later movie. Honestly, I'm just happy that we got the Scorpion doing his get over here thing and participating in a badass fight.
I mean, it's practically Scorpion's thing at this point.
Yeah.
It would have been hilarious if they had just cast Christopher Lambert as Raiden again.
Did they introduce Mr. Six Arms?
No. Don't think so. They introduced that one big forearms dude, but I don't think he's Mr. Six Arms.
Oh, that might be who I'm thinking of. You gotta realize most of my experience from Mortal Kombat comes from, SNES or NES game? Something of that era. I just remember some dude with multiple arms being like the ultimate boss. I think his name is Goro.
Goro.
Okay, so Goro. 4 arms. My bad. I knew he had multiple arms, I just couldn't remember how many. And it made him a bitch to fight.
Yeah. But anyways, moving on from Mortal Kombat to a show that we will probably talk about at length in a future podcast.
We're once season 2 finally ends, we'll talk about it more in depth. But this is the first half of.
We'll do a brief run around of the Owl House season 2 before we move on.
Yeah. First things first, the SS Lumity set sail.
Woohoo!
As Disney's first gay characters.
To be fair, I think it's the first canonical LGBT couple involving a protagonist in a Disney show.
Yeah. I'm just glad that they got together, midway through the show's run and not right at the fucking end when we don't actually get to see it in action.
Yeah, I really hate, I have a lot of issues with will they or won't they setups.
I mean, that's the other thing. As much as I am incredibly sad and annoyed at the fact that Owl House has been basically cut short to an extent, it does mean that they have basically fast-tracked the romance, and I'm all for that.
Mm-hmm.
It saves us from so many episodes of them, angsting about it.
Mm-hmm.
Love the introduction of the Golden Guard. Zeno Robinson is incredible as always. And just his personality as a bad but sad boy is just great. Hootie is just Hootie.
I love that Hootie's focus episode is quite possibly the most eventful episode of the season so far.
Because everyone saw that and went, "Oh, it's a Hootie episode. Not much is going to happen there." And then it happened to be basically one of the most important fucking episodes in the entire season.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that Willow and Gus get more focus in the second half of season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have fallen a bit by the wayside. Gus did get an episode, but
Willow hasn't had a lot of focus.
Willow hasn't had a lot of focus, and Gus's episode, for better or worse, was slightly overshadowed by Lumity.
Slightly overshadowed.
I don't want to give the critics too much ammunition. I love your Lumity too much to do that.
Fair enough. But yeah, we'll focus on this more in a later podcast. But moving on to
Shadow and Bone. So what the fuck is this? Because I literally never heard of it before today.
It is an adaptation of the Shadow and Bone series with a little bit of Six of Crows sprinkled in. Which is good because the crows kind of steal the show. Even though they aren't technically... I don't believe they're actually in the original book for this.
I absolutely know what Shadow and Bone is. But for the purposes of other people who might not know, i.e. me, what is it?
So basically this is a low-ish fantasy series that basically involves... how do I explain it? So basically, most of the action takes place on a specific continent that has been divided almost completely in half by this massive supernatural phenomenon called the Fold, which is this big, shadowy wall, basically, that's filled with horrifying monsters that will kill you if they get close to you. And it's extremely difficult to cross the Fold, and there is a very high mortality rate if you try to do it. So you're either stuck on the side of the Fold that you're on, or you have to go the long way around. And the Fold basically covers a good chunk of the continent from the sea to a mountain range.
Right.
So yeah, the main character, it turns out, is a very powerful mage. The mages in this setting are called Grisha, who can summon light. And is believed to eventually be able to destroy the fold and reunite the country that had been cut in half by the. Unfortunately, shenanigans ensue, partially because the crows are hired to abduct said light Grisha, and everything goes very belly up as the show goes on. Also, Ben Barnes is in it, and he plays the one dude with shadow powers in the series.
Cool.
Like, the actors all do really good jobs on this show. It's a really interesting show. But as I said, every time they're on screen, the crows steal the spotlight.
Hmm.
They're basically a gang of thieves and thugs who are basically doing this job to work their way out of debt. Because the bounty that was placed on the late Grisha's kidnapping was it's basically a huge ass bounty.
Right. Anything else?
No. Oh, the effects are really good too, and this is a good show. There is apparently a second season coming along, and it'll be interesting to see where things go from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, not much else to say. Moving on to yet another Marvel thing.
Shang-Chi, The Legend and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Again, I haven't watched it. Is this on Disney Plus yet?
It is on Disney Plus. You should watch it immediately. It is fucking awesome.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I mean, out of all the Marvel stuff that has dropped on Disney Plus recently, this is probably the one I would watch.
Yeah, honestly, up until the new Spider-Man movie, this was the best movie of Phase 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's easily that. I mean, it too stumbles a bit towards the end, in my opinion.
I mean, it is helped by the fact that the central villain is such a compelling character compared to most Marvel villains.
It has a relatively good villain. It's also just refreshing to see people do something that isn't just slinging blue lasers at each other.
Yeah, it's an actual martial arts movie.
Yeah. I mean, that's always the thing. I find myself enjoying Marvel movies more when they just look different. Like, I love Doctor Strange because he's wearing an outfit that is made of actual cloth and not the rubber leather suit everyone else is wearing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's just visually more interesting than the other outfits. I like Shang-Chi because the people are actually fighting and not just kind of pointing at each other. And yeah, like, the ending is of course a big CGI fest, and that dampens it a little bit, but overall, no, pretty good, and also just very good lead performances.
All the main
basically everyone. Yeah.
I also appreciate the fact that it is largely standalone. Like, there's only a few nods.
Pretty much,
to the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
And even that, like, I saw a thread online where someone was essentially complaining that the movie is gatekeepy because of the scene with Wong and Abomination.
No, that's just a fun continuity nod.
Like, that's the thing. Like, that is not at all, like, if you don't know who Wong and or Abomination are, you lose nothing from that scene. Like, you get all the information you get with knowing who they are.
Meanwhile, like, I do know who Wong is, and I want to see him more. So that's a point in this movie's favor.
I love Wong; he's great.
Yeah, and no, like, that's one of the things. Like, it's very good, even compared to other Marvel movies. It's very good about taking place in this world without being all about this world.
Yeah.
Also, the fight scene in the bus is just really good.
That was a great sequence.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate that the fight scenes have a lot less cuts in them than most Marvel movies.
Yeah, because it's cut like a martial arts movie and not like a Marvel movie.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
This is very good.
Moving on then to the Spoderman.
It's very good, and honestly, talking about it at all will probably involve spoilers, so I'll probably just leave it at it's very good.
It is extremely good. There are more cameos than you think there are.
I mean, honestly, I don't even know if it's very good, but it's full of fan service that serviced me very well.
I will say that
it's also very good.
The highest range of emotional reactions from me out of any Marvel movie I've seen.
Yeah, that's probably true. And there were scenes, I've talked about this in spoiler channels before. Like, German theater audiences do not cheer at movies. That just doesn't happen in German movie theaters.
In fairness, I think it's mostly an American thing.
Yeah, like even in like the Avengers Endgame thing where everyone showed up, like, we just don't do that. And in this movie, there were cheers. The first time in my life I've heard that.
Wow.
People were losing shit in the movie theater when I was watching this movie. Like, I mean, repeatedly throughout the damn movie, there was just many people just lost their goddamn minds. And I was one of them.
People were very into this movie, and I can understand it. It was very entertaining and very good.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, I've only managed to be or see one oblique spoiler, so
that's cool.
See, and I'm not going to say anything else because I think this one actually profits from seeing it unspoiled.
I appreciate it. We'll see how long I can last on that front.
Probably not long enough, but we'll do our best.
We'll see. We'll see. Moving on then to Squid Game, aka Fuck Capitalism.
Yeah, that was good.
I mean, I haven't watched it just because I know it's depressing, and I'm just tired of depressing media at this point.
Yeah, then probably don't watch it.
It's a death game show, isn't it?
Yeah, it's essentially kaiji. It's
oh boy.
Like it even has it's rich people fuck people over thing. It's really very kaiji. I found myself thinking while watching it a few times, hey, this could be oh wait, that already exists. Just instead of gambling here, it's children's games.
Yeah.
But no, Squid Game is really good. Like, the cast is really good. It's very well shot. They have actually really, like, they put their money where they needed to put it. The sets look good. The show looks very good overall. It's gonna get a second season, which I don't really get. Like, it ended on a very good note, and then they kind of tacked on a cliffhanger, which I found to be kind of weird.
Maybe like that sometimes.
Yeah, but if you haven't seen it, I don't really want to say too much in case you want to watch it because there are a few pretty good reveals in it, and I think it's good to experience them. But yes, it is actually depressing. Like, characters I wanted to not die did die, and
as said, I don't have a lot of time for media at this point anymore.
Yeah,
and I just
don't watch depressing media.
Yeah,
I get that.
The world is depressing enough. I don't need it in my media.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say this is a bad show as a result, because it clearly isn't good. It's just not my thing.
I had a week off work and watched it there. Like, I wouldn't have watched it. I wouldn't have taken a time out of a day if I hadn't had the time. So, but yeah, I definitely say if you can stomach that, like if you're okay with a very, very depressing show, watch it. And maybe just skip the last 30 seconds. I don't know.
That sort of informs my question, which was going to be: does somebody at least win in the end?
Yes, someone does win in the end. Like, that's the thing.
Good.
As I said, it someone wins in the end, and there's some aftermath of that, and some you see how they handle the fact that they won, and there's a little time skip, and it's all very satisfying. And then they tack on a cliffhanger, and that's just. I don't think they should have done that. I think they should have just left it at one season. I'm honestly not even sure if I watched the second season. That I really liked the first one, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a good, satisfying show. I'm not sure I need more of it.
Moving on then to the Suicide Squad.
This movie was really fucking good. Like,
James Gunn knows how to make a superhero movie.
He does.
Even if it's starring
really does.
supervillains. And some not so supervillains.
Like, if you had told me I was going to come out of a movie loving Polka Dot Man, Ratcatcher, and blood sports, I would not have believed you.
I haven't even seen the movie, and I already love Polka Dot Man because he was in Batman the Brave and the Bold, I think. I don't know.
Ah, yes. Yeah. But no, this movie is really great. Like, it's the perfect combination of bloody violence, dark, cynical themes, absolutely madcap humor, and excellent action. Also, just all the main cast have really great chemistry with each other.
That's right, Sylvester Stallone was fucking King Shark.
And he was perfect in the role.
I just saw his name on the poster and went, who did Sylvester Stallone play again? Oh, that's right, it was King fucking Shark.
Yeah, also they got just like a whole bunch of actors to play characters who die in the first 15 minutes
Yeah,
of the movie.
I mean, James Gunn basically hired all his friends, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. But it's a really fun movie.
I think DC is kind of getting around to actually pumping out good movies. Because they stopped trying to copy Marvel and do the you have to get from A to B thing, and they just hire people to make movies out of their IPs.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing something, which I think is good.
And that didn't work super well with the second Wonder Woman. The first one was really good. The second one not so much. It apparently worked super well with Suicide Squad. Worked great with Shazam. We'll see how it works with Batman. Like, I think DC is getting around to actually making good movies again.
Yeah.
Or at least having the option to make good movies again.
Yeah.
Because Zack Snyder doesn't get his grabby little fingers all over them.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you look at... first of all, they jumped the gun. They tried to do the team up without actually setting it up properly.
Fuck so big.
But also just, they portrayed the characters as the worst possible versions of themselves.
Yeah.
Dark, edgy Superman, killer Batman.
I mean, while we're on this, I am going to say...
No.
While we're on this, I am going to say I did watch the Snyder Cut, which everyone says is better than Justice League, which is like a very, very low bar to clear.
Yeah, yeah. That did come out this year, didn't it?
I did not like that more. Like, yes, it's better, but it's also like 3 times as long.
I was gonna say, is it not better just because it has more time to set up what should have been in a different movie?
Like, that's the thing. If someone tells me make a 2-hour movie and I make a 3-hour movie, then I have spectacularly failed the assignment.
And he didn't even do that. He made a 4-hour movie, didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, but again, same difference. No, but it's just like everyone came out of that saying that it's actually good, and I do not agree with that. I thought it was it was still pretty bad. It wasn't great. It kind of just
Back to the Suicide Squad. How was John Cena?
He is a surprisingly good actor in this movie.
He's getting a TV show, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yep. He does a really good job with the character he has, because basically Peacemaker is an absolute... he's basically a hyper-patriotic lunatic. And John Cena sells that character really well.
That's basically the evil version of his fucking wrestling persona.
He's basically like evil Captain America with guns.
So like in fucking And the Winter Soldier.
Kinda, yeah. He's like John Walker, only more psychotic and deranged.
Yeah.
And also, like, occasionally played for laughs, but occasionally played actually seriously. He has a really good dynamic though with the rest of the Suicide Squad, especially Bloodsport.
Yeah.
Like John Cena and Idris Elba have good chemistry together.
I mean that's the thing. You say that John Cena is a surprisingly good actor. Like, he's basically been acting and doing his own stunts for
His whole career.
15, 17 years.
Yeah.
Like. Like, wrestlers generally do turn out to be pretty good actors just because they have basically been doing that their entire careers. So it honestly doesn't surprise me that John Cena's turning out well.
Mm-hmm.
Especially considering, as I said, this is a very similar role to the one he's played. It's just evil and turned up to 11.
Yeah. Moving on to this is your thing, Mel.
This is my thing. Taskmaster series 11 and 12. I mean, Taskmaster is just so fantastic. It can just, and I'm so happy it exists because it introduces me to actors and comedians that I, generally didn't know before. I mean, series 11. The only one out of the lineup that I knew was Lee Mack, and myself and the entire audience was introduced to the glorious insanity that is Mike Wozniak. Like, the episode titles are generally quotes either from the two hosts or one of the cast, and they say they try and do they try and give episode titles or two episode titles to each person to try and make it a bit fair. Mike Wozniak was involved in 6 because he just comes out with utter insanity. Should also point out that that he did in fact expel a hemorrhoid on screen.
Oh.
He was given the task to fart as quickly as possible. Tried for quite a while and eventually just, and he described it as an absolute casserole down there.
That's nasty.
Great. No.
It's so awful, but it's just so hilarious just because of how matter of fact he was about it.
Well.
And then series 12 again was just hilarious. It introduced me to Guz Khan, who is just fantastic. They had a task where they had to paint a space hopper as completely as possible without making the surroundings messy at all. So what Guz Khan did is he hung it up and started painting it, and he was basically goaded by Alex Horn into slapping it to make a most satisfying sound, and it actually ended up falling because of that and ruining his attempt. And you've got the general incredibly awkward but hilarious chemistry between Greg Davies and Alex Horn. Like, it's just they do a banter segment at the start of each episode, and it is so horrifically awkward. It's hilarious. I absolutely love Taskmaster. Give it a watch. Honestly, it's so good. It's so good. I think for the Americans in the audience, it's on YouTube. At least, not these series, I don't think, just yet. But certainly previous ones are. And they are all worthwhile watching. There has not been a bad season, and we are up at season 12.
Damn.
And we are about to get
That's
season 13.
praise.
Yeah.
Well, moving on to our penultimate point of discussion.
Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Isn't it just like Tom Hardy just like looking like shit and going through a romance with his symbiote?
Basically, this the producers of this went, we're going to give the monster fuckers everything they want, and they followed through on that. They really play up the old married couple dynamic that Eddie and Venom have.
Yeah.
And it makes up for a good chunk of the film's comedy.
See, this is how you do self-cest.
Yes. There's also just a bit where Venom separates from Eddie and goes to a gay rave.
Oh, God.
And at one point, he outright says, "I'm out of the Eddie closet."
God damn it.
The writers were not subtle.
No, they clearly weren't, were they?
Hey, it was fun, though.
I'm not saying it's not.
In the movie, really, the play be subtle.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, it's like the other half of the movie is Woody Harrelson just hamming it up. So, like, yeah, Woody Harrelson's always fun. Like, the least interesting bit is actually the second title character, Carnage, who, like, had potential to be interesting, but it's mostly just there being, like, a menacing villain and facilitating Woody Harrelson going completely batshit insane. So, like, I wish there was a bit more Carnage, but at the same time, like, I'm glad the Carnage is over.
Yeah.
There's even a bit where Venom outright says, "Fuck this guy."
Are we gonna discuss the mid-credit scene at all?
Oh, you mean the scene where Carnage gets teleported to the MCU?
Yes.
Venom gets teleported to the MCU?
Yes.
It is funny. It is very funny. And I will not mention whether or not it pays off. But yeah,
I mean, I assume it'll pay off at some point, because there's probably going to be another Venom movie. At the very least.
Definitely.
But,
no, it's a fun movie, even if it is just dumb.
Mm-hmm. But from one sort of Marvel property to another, what if?
What if? We talked about this show for 2 or 3 hours. No, we couldn't do that. Maybe 2.
I mean, it would mostly be you talking about it.
Talk about anything for 2 hours.
Nah, we'll make this one quick.
I mean, it's just sort of, is it not just interesting thought experiments?
It kind of is, yeah.
Kind of. I mean, it obviously ties into the whole multiverse thing that the ending of Loki also set up. That is obviously the stage for the next phase in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly wouldn't be super surprised if most, if not all of it, somehow paid off down the line in the MCU, because essentially, I mean, what it is a collection of anthologies, and none of them really end. They just kind of, like, here's the story.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And,
like, the one thing I am kind of disappointed about is that the Gamora one kind of got shifted to the second season because of projection shit.
Yeah, well, Corona fucks everything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think, and that's kind of the thing about What If. Like, if you are into the Marvel shit, it's definitely worth watching. You probably won't like all of them, but that's just the nature of anthology series.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I didn't really care for the zombie one. Like, I thought that was pretty uninteresting.
I mean, my favorites were probably the Doctor Strange one and the Ultron one.
Yeah, those were really good. I also liked the What If Black Panther but Star-Lord one.
Yeah, Black Panther but Star-Lord was also really fun. I miss Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, that hit hard, hearing his voice, and that was like,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
like, in general, it's cool that they essentially got all the, let's say, active voice actors back. They did not get Chris Evans, but everyone thought Josh Keaton was him.
Mm-hmm. I also just like, I do like the final episode, even if it's like I like the final episode, honestly. It was really fun. Like seeing the storylines cross over and intersect like that.
Yeah, definitely. Honestly,
Also, like
probably the Marvel show with the strongest ending. Well, maybe besides Loki, but we'll see.
also like Jeffrey Wright as Watcher was great.
Yes, definitely. But yeah, as I said, it's really mostly a setup show and an anthology show, so it's hard to talk about anything specifically because nothing, like, by the nature of it, nothing paid off in the long run. The first one was really cool with Peggy Carter becoming Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
So
not Captain America, Captain Carter.
Captain Carter, yeah, sorry. Though honestly, I thought Haley Atwell was not that great at voice acting. Sebastian Stan, on the other hand, was really good as a voice actor. But that's nitpicky. Like, that's not really something I need to talk about. It's just kind of stuff I thought while watching it. Again, it's an anthology series. If you are not into Marvel stuff, you won't get anything out of it. If you are, you'll probably like a few of them. Maybe even most of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's about that. So that ends the penultimate roundup for 2021, I believe. Yeah, I'm fairly sure we only have one more left, which is the anime of 2021, and that will be in the new year.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of other future stuff, Sunday, will be D&D. Should be at the normal time. Tuesday, Fuzzy and I will be continuing and hopefully getting very close to ending Control. After that, streams will be at Fuzzy's discretion, so make sure to give us a follow on Twitch and Twitter to keep up to date on that. But regular streams will probably return 28th, 29th of 28th to the 30th of December, I would say. Certainly, I think I might be back by the 28th. We'll see how that pans out. Certainly be back by the 30th. But most definitely the next Paradox Hour will be New Year's Day when we talk about anime of 2021.
Yep.
She's gonna have a lot of shitting on Cloverworks, it turns out.
Yep.
They brought it on themselves. Otherwise, as always, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. Good night.
Good night. Later.
Bye.